From the time that his little fingers could grasp a penknife, Owen had been remarkable for the delicate ingenuity which sometimes produced pretty shapes in wood, principally figures of flowers and birds, and sometimes seemed to aim at the hidden mysteries of mechanism. But it was always for purposes of grace, and never with any mockery of the useful. Those who discovered such peculiarity in the boy as to think it worth their while to observe it closely, sometimes saw a reason to suppose that he was attempting to imitate the beautiful movements of nature, as exemplified in the flight of birds or the activity of little animals. It seemed, in fact, a new development of love of the beauty, such as might have made him a poet, or a sculptor, and which was completely refined from the utilitarian coarseness it could have been in either of the fine arts. He looked with a singular distaste at the stiff and regular processes of ordinary machinery. The boy's relatives saw nothing better to be done, as perhaps there was not, than to bind him apprentice to a watchmaker, hoping that his strange ingenuity might thus be regulated and put to utilitarian purposes.
Look at that. I haven't seen him in 6 months, and he's working harder than I've ever seen before. I can tell you, but from when I used to work there, he's not working on a watch like he's supposed to be.
Maybe he's working on some type of timekeeper. I'm sure he has ingenuity enough.
He has no ingenuity. He can't make anything better than a Dutch toy. He ruins the best watches in the shop.
Shh, I'm hearing you. His feelings are very delicate. Okay, let's go.
Peter Hovenden's failing eyesight compelled him to relinquish the shop to Owen. Then people recognized how unfit a person Owen Warland was to lead blind old Father Time along on his daily course. Owen's custom rapidly diminished. Of misfortune, however, that was probably reckoned among his better accidents by Owen Warland, who was becoming more and more absorbed in a secret occupation which drew all his science and manual dexterity into itself, and likewise gave full employment to the characteristic tendencies of his genius. This pursuit had already consumed many months.
You did such hard work lately. Seeing how good you've been doing around town and the hard work you put in. If you would stop this nonsense with the beautiful, I would even let you work on my watch.
I think I'm gonna go to the thing.
For is the most precious thing in the world to me besides my daughter.
I wouldn't dare touch it, sir.
In time you will be capable of it.
LaRue County.
What is this? What do we have here? Owen, what is this witchcraft with all its bells and gadgets and stuff on it? I'm gonna break this to save you from any future peril that you will meet in town.
Say, don't touch it. The slightest touch will ruin me.
Okay, take your own course, but I warn you, you will regret this.
But I don't know whether you'll consent to such a task now that you're so taken up with the notion of putting spirit into machinery.
Where did you get that idea?
Oh, out of my own head, and from something that I heard you say long ago when you were but a boy and I a little child. But come, leave in this poor thimble of mine.
Anything for your sake to work at Robert Danforth's forge?
And that would be a pretty sight. Well, here's the thimble.
Tell you the secret of my pursuit. Methinks you estimate it rightly. I know you would hear it with a reverence that I must not expect from a harsh material world.
Would I not? To be sure I would. Come, explain to me quickly what is the meaning of this little whirligig, so delicately wrought that it might be a plaything for Queen Mob. See, I will put it in motion. Hold!
I have deceived myself and I must suffer for it. I yearned for sympathy and thought and fancied and dreamed that you might give it to me. Heaven, what have I done? The vapor, the influence, the brute force. It has bewildered me and obscured my perception. I have made every stroke, the fatal stroke, and that I have dreaded from the first. It is all over. The toil of months, the object of my life. I am ruined.
There was a stifled outcry in the poor artist's heart, which he compressed within him like a man holding down an evil spirit. One slight outbreak, however, imperceptible to the old watchmaker, he allowed himself. Raising the instrument with which he was about to begin his work, he let it fall upon the system of machinery that had anew cost him months of thought and toil. It was shattered by a stroke. The spirit of Owen Warland was not dead nor passed away, it only slept.
Are you alive again, child of the sun and playmate of the summer breeze? After your dismissal winter nap, then it is time for me to be at your work.
You just come to my house tomorrow for Robert is marrying my daughter.
I can't. I have a...
Wait. But you must come, because it would be perfect. In my backyard, the whole thing is set up. You just have to come.
For a time, Owen Warland succumbed to a severe but inevitable test. He spent a few sluggish weeks with his head so continuously resting in his hands that the townspeople had scarcely an opportunity to see his countenance. When at last it was again uplifted to the light of day, a cold, dull, nameless change was perceptible upon it, in the opinion of Peter Hovenden. Owen went through a fit of illness. After his recovery, his small and slender frame assumed an obtuser garniture of flesh than it had ever worn before. His thin cheeks became round, and the delicate little hand, so spiritually fashioned to achieve fairy taskwork, grew plumper than the hand of a thriving infant. Yet as strong as he felt with his renewed spirit, he was incited to toil the more diligently by an anxiety lest death should surprise him in the midst of his labors. This anxiety, perhaps, is common to all men who set their hearts upon anything so high. In their own view of it, the life becomes an importance only as conditional to its accomplishment. So as long as we love life for itself, we seldom dread losing it. When we desire life for the adamant of an object, we recognize the frailty of its texture.
I have succeeded, my friends. I've succeeded.
Is it unlawful to share what the secret of the beautiful is now?
It's a bridal gift for you.
Oh, it's so beautiful. Is it real?
Look for yourself. Is it alive? Yes. I created it, and it's not the same as it used to be.
Do you think it would land on such a delicate finger as mine?
It's the butterfly he made that he spent years on.
I will only be able to understand it if I hold it.
Here you go. It's dying. Give it to the child, the innocent child. No!
While the butterfly still hovered in the air, the little child of strength, with his grandsire's sharp and shrewd expression in his face, made a snatch at the marvelous insect and compressed it in his hand. Annie screamed. Old Peter Hovenden burst into a cold and scornful laugh. The blacksmith, by main force, unclosed the infant's hand and found within the palm a small heap of glittering fragments, whence the mystery of the beauty had fled forever. And as for Owen Warland, he looked with placidity at what seemed to be the ruin of his life's labor, and which yet was no ruin. He had caught a far other butterfly than this. When the artist rose high enough to achieve the beautiful, the symbol by which he made it perceptible to moral senses became of little value in his eyes, while the spirit possessed itself in the joy of the reality.